Some disturbing news happened this past week where there was a shooting in New Jersey. The news is saying that it has some affiliation with the Black Hebrew Israelites, and I found this very disturbing. So I wanted to do an interview with Elder Shadrock, a leader of the Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries, to see if any there's any affiliation or what his opinions are on the occurrences that happened this past week. So, Elder Shadrock, what are your opinions on what happened this past
Number
week?
one, it's been very disturbing to hear the religion or the philosophy of the person who did that. Because there's so many different shootings going on, you don't hear about religion. And it so happens that this one happens and you hear religion. One person, he probably not even a member of any group, but he is called a Hebrew Israelite or a Black Hebrew Israelite or Black, I don't understand, because once you see these kind of thing comes in, we have to be very careful because we are not a part of that type of organization. And even the name, as I said this morning, names, we have to wonder why we say the names and call names that we call upon. I know that in Rhodesia, now it's called Zimbabwe, it was run by white people. We know South Africa was run by white people. Angola had white people. So what happened if those white Africans come to the United States or Canada? What would you call them?
That's a very, very good question.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but it has to be black. But you can say, oh, I'm an African Canadian. But you're white. But African Canadian or African American supposed to be black. But if a white person come from an African country, I'm confused what you call them. The reason why I'm saying that is because Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries, we're not Hebrew Israelite, because I say it constantly. Hebrew, according, maybe people are dumb and cannot understand grammar or English language. Hebrew is not an adjective. For one to call himself a Hebrew Israelite, it is contrary to proper English. So our forefathers was Hebrew, and then you would find somewhere in Genesis 32 and Genesis 35 that there was a name change, so we become the children of Israel or the children of Jacob. So we're not Hebrew Israelite. In Samuel the 14th chapter, you're going to find out that the Hebrews met with the Israelites. So to call yourself Hebrew Israelite is dumbfounded. So that is one of the things that we cannot agree with. The second thing in that area of, I would call it indiscipline, because to see two people running across the street to shoot up another place, I don't know where that could come from in terms of intelligence or in terms of teachings. How would someone teach another person to run across the street and to shoot somebody? That's not Israel. It could be called something else. But the Bible never said that. And the Bible never said that we're going to make other people slaves. The reason why we were made slaves, because we were disobedient. We did not listen to the laws written down that we should be adhering to. Now we turn that on other people, and which is a lie. My duty, and the Israelite Nation Worldwide duty, is to teach any and everyone, if they come to the understanding that we are God's people. And that is not to say that because we're God's people, we got to kill everybody. That's not what it is. It says in 1 Kings, I would ask you to read it, 1 Kings 8, further 1, and you can read it and see what it says. And you got so many scriptures dealing with that matter. Could you read it?
I'm going to read it. I definitely want to read it just to go over it, because they're definitely labeling the Hebrew Israelites as a hate group, or the Israelites as a hate
Everybody that preaches hate says it's come from the Bible.
So let's read it. Let's take it.
Okay.
So, moreover concerning a stranger that is not of thy people Israel, but cometh out of a far country.
I think you're going too fast. Moreover, it's like the name of God or something that we might say commonly. Moreover is like, pay attention. This is what I want to tell you. This is how serious it is. Moreover. Concerning a stranger, not only because some people said strangers are also Israelites, but the Bible is so clear for those of understanding to see it. Moreover, concerning a stranger,
How
not
could they be a stranger?
of thy people.
Yeah, that doesn't make. That is
Read it.
not of thy people Israel, very specific here,
Yeah.
but cometh out of a far country for thy name's sake. For they shall hear of thy great name, and of thy strong hand, and of thy stretched out arm. And when he shall come and pray toward this house, hear thou in heaven thy dwelling place.
That's the Bible. If they come in this house and pray to the God of this house, we would welcome them. And that's our philosophy, that's our policy, that's what we go by. So we don't want to be categorized with people who run across the street and shooting people. That's not, number one, we're not Hebrew Israelites. And if we say that, we simply means that there is no such person in the scriptures. We are Israelite, God's chosen people. We were given the commandments, we were given the laws and the statutes, and we were given all that, and it is our place and our duty to go according to that. Other people have their gods, leave them alone. We must pay attention to our God. If those people have their God, it's none of our business. We should concentrate on how we should worship our God and live in peace with our God. I have said during the month of August that I think people should get off the street, get off from the street corners and go into a boardroom. And let us try to elevate ourselves into betterment, into things that are uplifting, things that could move us forward in a great togetherness, a great bond, and so that people could respect us. I've also said we take the pages, the positive pages of others, and put them in a book of togetherness so that we can learn from others. And I think it is so important that we understand these precepts that is so relevant to our people. For us to get peace, I think we're not thinking about economic development, because every time we ask about that, they prefer not to have that type of a meeting. They prefer to stand in the street and ridicule, criticize, and do all the things that are not proper. And all I'm asking for is to do things that people would learn how to respect people like me and you. Because without respect, we're down the drain. It's thought everyone that comes after us is above us. And we need to see that. We should ask ourselves, what is the purpose? What is the reason? Why? Why everyone that comes after us is before us? If we can answer those questions, we will try to change our attitude.
Wow. Okay, well, sorry, that was just, there's a lot there that I have to kind of process and take in. They said a lot of very meaningful things.
You always ask good questions.
Well, yes. And I wanted you just to delve in a little bit more, because one thing that I definitely noticed coming to the nation is that you have people of different nationalities. It kind of speaks towards the scripture that you had me read, because a lot of people mistaken the Israelite nation as a black movement. It's a black movement. So I just maybe want you to go into a little bit more as to why there are different nations within this group.
I said before in the beginning, when you say African American, it's strictly black. But if a white man comes from South Africa and comes here, then what is he? He's still an African American or African Canadian. So number one, when they put black, it means that you're being targeted, because one guy is supposed to be some black, I don't even know if he is, a black Hebrew Israelite that we are not, shoot somebody and his name is called. People are shooting people every day. We had one young man who went into a Christian church and shoot up over 19 people. We didn't hear what kind of nationality or race or whatever that he was in. We didn't hear that. But this situation is gone blown out of proportion. It shouldn't be, and it's not the people's fault that are saying it. It is because they have no respect for us, because we didn't allow people to respect us. And that is the problem. We should get off the street, and I keep saying, get off the street. Let us get into an area where we can have economic power. I said get a book or anything at all that can uplift you from where we are right now. Mm-hmm. It's falling on deaf ears, and this is an example of what could happen.
Well, I definitely want to thank you for taking the time to even clear this up with us and all of us. But I know there's a few of us in this in the room that have some questions.
To Elder Shadrock, I was wondering, do you, the Israelites, pray to the same God as the Black Hebrew Israelites?
That's a very, very difficult question. Mm-hmm. They believe the same God, like I do. Look at it this way. So many people read the Bible and cannot understand it. So if somebody is saying they're serving the same God as we are, then they need to prove that. We know we're serving the same God. And the same God does not say anything about violence, about going and killing other races and doing all that, because I don't think in the old days we didn't have that type of, I don't know, our system, our DNA would not allow us. But now it's coming down to this closing time, our DNA is just like other people, that we can go out and do all these things. I'll tell you one thing. It was said in the 60s that a black man cannot blow up buses with children, because that's not ingrained. A black man cannot do these things that other people would do. Yet today, we are seeing that something is really wrong in this area where we do things that we never used to do, or we couldn't do. So there's a totally different. If you're a Christian or anything and you believe that you're serving Jesus and he's helping you, then that's you. So we have to believe in what we do. And when we believe and see what we do progressively, and we see people trying to do what we do and there's no progress, we know that we are right.
Sorry?
To Elder Shadrock, is there a way that you, the Israelites, and the Black Hebrew Israelites can come together as a progressive nation?
We had a conference that was supposed to be a conference of togetherness, that we don't even have to talk about the Bible. Let's talk about how we can come together and share ideas of progress and fundamental of how we can climb, how we can go from one treasure in life to the next, until we reach where we need to go, so that we can have respect. The conference was about that. It was an Israelite conference that was supposed to unite Israelites, to give them the opportunity to speak about intelligent things, teach about things that are meaningful, that the world can respect us, to learn to respect us. We're not just black, we're Israelite. Mm-hmm. And to place us as just being black, to me it's an insult. Because the other people are black, but they're not Israelites. So when you say black, and you say black Israelite, black Hebrew Israelite, something is definitely wrong there, because that is not right. And that's why I come up with, if a white man comes from Africa, would he be African American? He wouldn't be, because he's white. Mm-hmm. So are you going to give him another name? When we're being identified by the color of our skin, it's been since the time of slavery. It was always wrong. So if you're an Israelite, you're an Israelite. You don't have to be a black Israelite. And that's all I can say.
When the news came out, they said Black Israelites, they're this hate group, and they went into all the things that Hebrew Israelites, I suppose, from reading the article, believe in about domination and black over white power. And I related it to the Muslims, and when the Muslims had their the terrorist attacks and how even when they had their terrorist attacks and they affiliated them with the religion of the Muslims, they didn't paint all Muslims as a terrorist group. And I thought it very interesting that the news painted the Israelites, the whole group, as a terrorist group. It was just something that definitely stood out to me.
I'm trying to understand where you're going, but the whole idea about their philosophy, what they do, is contrary to what the Bible is saying. If you're not teaching from the Bible, then you probably would have another book. Mm-hmm. But if you're teaching from the Bible, then what you're doing is not right, it's not correct. Even we were told to go into Canaan and get rid of them. We didn't have the guts to do that. We didn't break down the grove and do that. So how come now you get all this energy to do all of these things? Now, I feel that if we can get together and we can have a strong economic bond, if we can build hospitals and build schools and teach the world about a God, we would be much better off than doing the things that we're doing. And that's what I stand for. Progress, productivity. And that's what's important for Israelite people, so that we would not continue to be the tail, as it says in the book of Deuteronomy, but continue to be the head, because that's what we were meant to be. How all these things are happening only, and your name has to be called all the time. Blackness. On TV, blackness. Everywhere, blackness. Mm-hmm. It's not supposed to be if we do the things that are right. And the right thing is to return to our culture. And I don't believe so much in just pulling out the Bible and reading a verse or two and trying to chastise people with words. Israel has a culture. And I teach in this nation, our culture is very strong. They have people that never read any book about the religion, but the culture is very strong within them. And they would say, this is who I am. But they don't know anything about their book. Mm-hmm. But they know they were born like this and this is it. I can't get Israelites to think like that. They probably would criticize the culture and go ahead putting out verses and doing all of that and brutalizing people with words.
Yeah.
That is not right. We need to get somewhere where our intelligence can surpass and be paramount over our ignorance and stupidity.
Definitely. Well, I think that we're definitely doing that within the Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries, and I definitely want to commend you on the growth of that.
That's what we're doing. That's why we try to do in the Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministry. One of the priests mentioned something a while back, mm-hmm. and he says in a very emotional manner, if we don't teach our children our culture, it means that this nation would not have a future. And I agree with him.
Any other questions?
I have a question. How do we go about and differentiate ourselves from these people? How do we clearly put a line between us and them, so that when people look on us, that they'll know that we are not associated to them?
We put a line. The line is already there. It's people that associate us with Hebrew Israelites. We're not Hebrew Israelites, and that is not what we do. We already did it in terms to show the difference. It is people outside. If a Hebrew Israelite shot somebody, they don't say Hebrew Israelites all the time. It boils down to the first day is African Hebrew Israelite, the second day is Hebrew Israelite, the third day, and then it comes down to be Israelite. We are not Hebrew Israelites. And it is, if you look at all my videos, it says we're not Hebrew Israelites. So we don't have any need to fear about Hebrew Israelites. We are Israelites. We make that decision. Other people might want to put us in that same category as Hebrew Israelites. When that happens, there should be a bold no, we're not Hebrew Israelites.
It's really enlightening sitting down here listening to you, because in my mind, what came out with the Hebrew Israelites, Black Israelites, it is very scary. It's pretty scary, especially when you work in the environment and you have different co-workers. So it's really good to understand that the Israelite Nation is not a black organization. Is there anything more that you could speak on that? Do we have white people in the congregation? It's how do you go back and work in the workforce when the news is portraying us as black organization? We hate the white people. We want them to be slaves in the future. Anything more you could say on that?
Well, there's not much I can say. We have white people, that's evidence, in almost all of our branches. We have people in Atlanta that's white, we have people here that's white. And again, I says, if a green man comes and says, not only to me, but any of the priests or council members, we hear that you have the truth. Because that's what the Bible said. We heard that you're a Jew, and you would hold on in our coat and follow us. It doesn't matter what you are, who you are. Once you know and understand that it's the truth and you come, we don't have the color issue. This is not a black organization, it is a spiritual organization, and that's the difference. We are not a black group or placed as a group. We are religious and we are spiritual. And that should cover everything rather than black, because we're not all black. My first set of students were all white.
Well, there you go. We are not a hate group. We are not a black movement.
Nope.
We are not affiliated with the
And
Hebrew
movement is
Israelites.
not the word. We're not a movement.
We're not a movement. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for coming out.
Yes.
In closing, I would like to just say these few words. What happened in Jersey City to be exact, we of the Israelite Nation, and Elder Shadrock in particular, we do not condone such violence or such behavioral pattern, and we would not support it in any way, because that's not what we believe in.